All right. Good afternoon, guys, on the East Coast. Good morning, late morning, I suppose, on the West Coast. I'm your host, Brandon Troy, host and co-creator of Movers and Shakers Unlimited. And if you have seen our recent promo posts, we have a great show for you guys this right now. Basically talking about a recap of Baltimore Comic Con. So give me one moment while I introduce all of our guests. One sec. So first and foremost, I want to introduce. She is the owner of All Yeah Comics in Muncie, Indiana, and is also the writer for The Damnation of Charlie Wormwood. So can we give a introduction to Christy Blanch?
Hello,
Hey, how
everybody.
you doing?
Happy Sunday. Go Bears.
Right, right. All right. One moment. Let me get our next guest on here. So you know much of his work over on Movers and Shakers Unlimited. He is my con connoisseur. When it comes to cons, he is my go-to guy. Give me one moment while I introduce him on. Introducing Chris Pabon. What's going on, Chris?
Good afternoon, everyone. May the force be with you on this rainy Sunday morning.
Indeed, indeed. All right, and okay. Last but not least, I want to introduce. She is the co-creator of the recently Ringo nominated. I always have to make a joke about this because you also have to preface this as a Ringo nominated creator. So the Ringo nominated co-creator of the graphic novel known as The Underfoot. Can we give a shout out to Emily Whitten? What's going on, Em? Let's see, coming on. There you go.
Hey, good to see you.
Hey, so guys, thank you guys so much for hopping on for today's show. As I said, the whole purpose behind today is to talk about, just to give a recap of Baltimore Comic Con. And I wanted to reach out to each of you because all of you guys have been there on more than one occasion for multiple years. So, and on top of that, too, I felt that it would be interesting, too, to give some insight from various avenues that you have within the show. So on Christie's end, point this way. On Christie's end, when it comes to being the owner of a shop and having that angle that you're bringing to the show. They have another fellow journo below me, talking about the show from that angle, and also, last but not least, also having an artist, well, not artist, but co-creator of a work that is being shown at this con. So, with that being said, guys, first and foremost, how have you guys been? Because here we are, like, I guess on a late note, happy Halloween to everybody.
Happy
I don't know if
Halloween.
you did anything yesterday. If you guys want to speak to that briefly before we hop into the crux of our show. To either of you, did either of
Um,
you do anything?
I was doing something. I can't see anybody else on the screen except you, Brandon. So I'm not sure who else is up talking.
No worries. You're good. You're good for right now. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, yesterday I'm actually in Pensacola, Florida, right now, which is crazy. But I was at the Pensacon Halloween Fest yesterday. So it was like an all outdoor, all masked activity where people could walk around outside and see merchandise booths and people and artists, and they had live music and all kinds of different stuff going on. So I was here with the Underfoot books and merchandise, meeting folks from Pensacola and telling them about the book, and a lot of folks bought, and I sold out of all the books I brought and all the hamster ears, and so it was a good day. And it was really well put on, and now I'm here in Pensacola with the folks who put on the show, kind of taking a break from brunch to come talk to you. And there were lots of great costumes. So many cute little kids too. Oh, so cute.
So,
Christy, I'll actually hand it over to you, Chris, since I have not spoken with you in a while. I know we see each other's posts. I feel like serendipitously we see each other over social media, but in person, like how have things been? Because we haven't seen each other at a physical con.
Me or Chris?
You.
Chris.
Oh, me. Okay. All I do is work. Being a shop owner, we had the shutdown, no new books, so we had to find, but still rent, and utilities. So that was fun. My landlord said I have to pay it, so you have to pay it. And I was like, oh, thank you. So we had, let's see, our computer died during the pandemic. We got a new one. It died. It's really fun to return a computer in the middle of a pandemic. We got a whole new system. I started a series of sales shows. We were doing 10 a week. Now we're down to 4 to 5, called What We Do in the Comic Shop, named after the greatest TV show and movie in the world, What We Do in the Shadows. I'm waiting for my cease and desist so I can frame it, but that's okay. We have it's one of my customers made me this logo, so it's just awesome. So just work. I do the show and work, and I'm editing some stuff for SourcePoint Press, and work. That's it. Very boring.
And of course, last but not least, Chris. The only reason why I saved you for last, Chris, because we recently have spent time as of yesterday. So
As of yesterday. So I threw together, and Brandon graciously joined us, a backyard viewing of Beetlejuice. Because I have a backyard that allows us to be socially distant, and so I divided it all up into squares. And here's where we found out that when the sun went down, being socially distant does not allow you to huddle, and the temperature really dropped last night. But we stood our ground, and we were all separate from one another, and we opened up the movie with a brief showing of The Mandalorian with Baby Yoda right behind me. Have to plug the show. Season 2, episode 1 was totally worth the wait.
Oh, good.
It was so good. And what am I doing when not organizing backyard Beetlejuice viewings for Halloween is adapting to the new normal, which is instead of going to Baltimore and spending 3 days, is spending 3 days in front of my computer screen like we're doing now.
Absolutely, and that's actually a great segue. Just hopping right into this virtual edition of this year's Baltimore Comic Con. As I said, each of us, we've been to the show in person, but coming from each of your angles, can you talk to what it was like to do Baltimore Comic Con live for this year? Go ahead, Em. Let me unmute you. Sorry. Hold on.
I can't hear anybody except for you, so I don't know what
It's fine. You're
Christy
fine.
is saying.
You're all
But
good.
I
Go
can't
ahead.
hear them at all.
It's fine. They're not speaking. You're good. Go ahead.
Okay, but all right. So for me, mostly I was involved in going to the virtual Ringo ceremony, but also I did like that you could submit cosplay photos and they post them on the website, so you can still see the cosplay photos, and they've divided them up into like Marvel and DC and other categories and stuff, so you can anime and things like that, so you can kind of browse through people's cosplay. And I like that, then they can do backgrounds and stuff that they might not be able to do at a con. So there was some really creative pieces of cosplay photo art in that gallery. And then, of course, they did the live shows, which I thought were, pretty well put together in terms of what would be interesting to watch live. So they had some great creators. And then in my part, I mostly didn't, because a lot of stuff was going on that weekend, including some preparation for things like being in Florida. I mostly attended the pre-Ringos, where I saw Christy talk about, different books that were up and artists and creators that were, up for awards, as well as I saw some tributes to, the award ceremony itself and its inspirations and everything, which was great. And then, of course, the, nerve-wracking, well, we're probably not going to win, but you have to be prepared kind of thing of being nominated. Of course, unfortunately, we did not win, but, we were up against some really amazing nominees, so I was not surprised. I was very pleased that we were in the nominated category at all for the Best Kids Comic or Graphic Novel. But that was really most of my experience with Baltimore this year. I missed everyone so much. I missed you and Christy. I missed the Nathans. I missed all the people who are involved and all the people I usually see. Like Steve Connolly, we usually are at a booth with him. And it was just, I'm really glad that they did what they did. And of course, it's still not the same. But that being said, since I can't hear what anybody else is saying, you can let me know if you want me to answer another question.
I've lost you,
And now I
Brandon.
can't hear
I've
you.
lost you.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Brandon.
You're fine.
Oh,
I
okay.
apologize. I was muted. But
Okay.
no, we can. Everyone can hear you, Emily, and everyone can see you. You're the only one who can't see everybody else, so you're all
Okay. Good to
good.
know. Sorry.
You're fine. You're fine. But Chris, for you.
So it was a little bit weird for me not being in Baltimore for the past weekend. But all in all, I have to say that I enjoyed the experience. And I'll tell you why. There were several panels that they did things that they usually would not be able to do at Baltimore Comic Con. And I want to point out to Johnson Tooley's, who I thought was an excellent host, and all the times he had to step up, to his Lucifer panel, which ran over the allotted time. And he was like, listen, this is the last panel. There's no room they have to kick us out of to put someone else in here. Let's keep on going. So we went on for about another 20 to 25 minutes. And I thought that was pretty awesome. And the other thing that I enjoyed about the new format, as I slowly, like all of us, get more used to it, was that the moderator has more power, in which, by this I mean, they can control the questions that people are asking to the guests. And, when you go to Baltimore Comic Con or any Comic Con, sometimes you run into the scenario that some person walks up and says, I have one question, but it's 6 different parts. And you're like, oh, no. Or you get someone who walks up there and says, like, I don't really have a question, but I just want to make a statement. And it detracts from everyone else who wants to ask a question, right? And you look back and there's a line like 10 people deep, and like, come on. So none of that. In this format, the moderator can look and choose which questions he wants to relate to the guests, but people still feel they can ask the question. It's just like, being controlled and not answered as it usually would be. So I enjoy this sense of like there's a more order to it. And also I want to say a lot of the guests seem more at ease being able to just talk like we are doing right here from our home. Whether it be Tom King or Humberto Ramos or anyone else, it was just more of a relaxed vibe. And I think it's partly because when you're up in that stage and you see all the people in front of you, you just naturally kind of tense up and like, oh, what might be recorded and posted later on Instagram. But, it was just from each person's home, it just had a more relaxed vibe and people seemed a lot more open. So, in this sense, I am drinking the Kool-Aid, or in my case, hot tea today, and saying that I am down with this new format for panels.
All right, awesome, Christy.
No.
Through
I
for it.
I've been going to Baltimore for over 10 years, and it's not a convention anymore. It's a family reunion, but with people that you like, family you like. And I FaceTimed with a bunch of people over the course of the weekend because I just miss them so much, and I had to deal with getting pictures from Mark and Shelley's children where they were crying because they couldn't see me, and I could do nothing about it. It was. But I do agree somewhat that the panels, it was nicer about with the questions, because again, when somebody gets up there and asks, "How do I get into comics?"
Oh God, yes.
And it's like, well, and I just want to just stop. I agree with that. However, as a moderator, I didn't get to choose the questions. Somebody else was doing that to the side. I only saw the questions that came on the screen at the bottom, which was fine. They did a really great job. I was a little nervous, but the panels I had, they were Ryan Stegman and Donnie Cates and Louise Simonson. So it's like, how can you go wrong with that, right? It was wonderful. I think for the hand that we are dealt right now with what's going on in the world, I think Baltimore did an amazing job.
Agreed.
I think it was as much as you could do. But the thing that, and you know this, Brandon, the thing that is so special about Baltimore are the people and the family and the warmth. It just, I don't even know how to explain Baltimore.
As with any con. With any con.
Well, any con is like that, but for me at least, and I know for Dean and for Howard and for the Simonsons and for Steve Conley and for Tom and Paul, it's family, and it's not going to the dinners. The Nathans and I go out to dinner every Thursday night. And so, I get a text from Mark going, "Hey, let's meet in the lobby in 30 minutes." And I was just like, yeah, okay. But again, for what we were dealt, I thought it was very nice. I think John did a great job, organizing things and putting things together. It wasn't the same, but again, nothing's the same right now. What is? But I do agree that with the questions, sometimes I'd like a beeper button when you're there in person. Go, no, pass.
Yeah.
Or the people that ask the most ridiculous questions. But I agree with that. I was very surprised at how well the panels that I was involved went with. They were seamless. We didn't have any connection problems, which is always, when you're dealing with technology, there's always, anything can happen. Especially it's 2020, so anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Yeah. But there were no issues. The biggest issue we had was, Donnie's cat was meowing. That's it, which added personality. And then the Ringos, there were some technical things with the Ringos because a wrong video, I think, got played. And so they got ahead, which never happens in the Ringos. I was like, wait, what's happening? We're ahead. So people weren't ready to go on. But that's to be expected. Nobody'd really done anything like that before. But I had a blast doing the red carpet and seeing everybody come on and scrolling across the bottom, and it was great. But it made me really happy and really sad at the same time, because it's like, I want to put together a Lego set with Sam. I want to do this, but it's what we're dealt. So I think it was wonderful.
Yeah, if I can chime in, Christina, I totally agree with the fact that I do miss the people that I regularly see, because there are people I only see at Baltimore Comic Con.
Yeah, only there.
And, and I don't even need to ask them if they're going to be there, because I just know. I just walk around like, oh, hey, there you are. We get together and have dinner. So that part I definitely missed, and it wasn't there. So 100% you're right that, it's seeing the people that I only see at Baltimore Comic Con. I definitely missed on that. And I also want to agree that some of the panels did have some spontaneity. And one of Johnson Tully's panels, I'm not sure if the camera had moved or he forgot to close the door. We got a look at his bathroom. Very nice looking bathroom. But that just added to the whole ambiance.
It was. I thought it went well, and I enjoyed Dean hosting the panel with Howard Chaykin and Walter Simonson and all those guys. It was just like, because those are my people, and it was just, that made me feel really good. So it was ones like that where the people that are involved in Baltimore that really made it feel more like home, and it was great. I miss conventions so much, which I never usually at the beginning of convention season.
So with that being said, I know that M can't stick around. So before I let you go, M.
One more question at me.
Before I let you go, I guess my last. No, you're fine. I guess my last question is just the idea of just like we were talking about, the landscape that we're in has affected so much of con culture, con season, however you want to shape it, and going forward, or were there some things in what you've experienced, not just with Baltimore Comic Con, but even in cons in general, that for each of you that you picture is going to be an experience that will be able, fingers crossed, that once we're able to physically meet back up, that it will remain the same, and perhaps after experiencing what we're experiencing this year, it's going to be forever changed, in your opinion, based on the angles that you are approaching the cons from. And I'll go ahead, Em. I have you start.
I think she's frozen.
Can you hear us, Em? Okay. All right. I'll give her a chance to get back over. But Christy, go ahead.
I don't think I don't know. I think we're going to have a new normal. I think there's going to be the meet and greets with celebrities are going to be changed. We can still do the panels, which is great for me because that's what I do. But I think that, I don't think a lot of celebrities are going to take as many chances as they did that, somebody's going to give them something. I think it's woken a lot of people up. Sorry, my dog's kneading through. Um, a lot of people are going to. I think that's going to change. I really don't know. I don't know how it's going to change. I mean, it was even. I went to C2E2 right before this hit. And it was even a little bit, it was even different there. Everybody was doing the elbow bumps and, where the, Wakanda Forevers. And it was just, usually when you see people, you're like, and you hug them and, or whatever. And it's like somebody reached out to shake my hand the other day. And I was like, what are you doing?
Whoa.
And it's like, no, I haven't done that in so long. I'm just like, whoa, what?
Right.
And it's just weird how it's changed the attitudes, and I think it's gonna take some time, and I hope this gets under control so that we can get back next year. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. So we're, as a shop, we're even planning in case there's another shutdown. England shut down, for goodness sake. So I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. So we're like, okay, if this happens, we're still going to be putting out comics this time, most likely. So how are we going to do this? Because the only thing that saved us last time is that we didn't have to pay for our diamond bill, So we're just trying to prepare. I don't know what it's going to look like. I just don't know. I'm hoping for the best, and I hope it gets back to somewhat normal. But I can't see San Diego and Hall H happening, anytime soon. I mean, that's just that's cattle. So I just don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I don't even know when the next time I'm going to go see a movie is.
Right? And I love going to movies. It's killing me. It is killing me.
It is. It's awful. There's so many things. I'm like, that's going to change dating. It's going to change, Everything's just so different. I don't know what it's going to be like.
Yeah. Chris?
So I think that the first thing we're going to see is going to be different for any con that starts in 21 is I think photo ops are going to be out.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine people or celebrities allowing hundreds of people to get right up close to them. I think that any con before May is out, like KatsuCon, that usually happens in February, and they were lucky enough to squeeze in last year. I think they're definitely out. I think that even AwesomeCon would just announce that they're moving from May to August. I think that's optimistic and probably a little too optimistic. I'm concerned not so much for the larger cons that have some financial backing behind them, but I'm concerned for the smaller ones like the Shore Leaves or the Far Points. Can they weather not having a con for more than 1 year in a row? It'll only be 1 year for Farpoint because Farpoint again just managed to squeeze in under the deadline. But if Shore Leave can't go in July, can they go 2 years in a row? And I think for if we go any longer, we may start seeing paywalls. We were very fortunate to have an excellent job done by Baltimore Comic Con, but if Baltimore Comic Con has to go virtual again next year, I'm not sure if they're not going to look and see if they can implement a paywall model. And it may make sense to ensure their survival that they adopt something like this, but even for those cons that managed to come back in 21, and again, I don't think we can count on a con coming back earlier than second half of 21. Photo ops definitely out, and I do think we're going to see more of the virtual panels that we've seen right now. Maybe some type of hybrid model where you have some in person and some models that will only be online. We've come a long way in the use of our tech. I mean, I remember when Leonard Nimoy in his final year or so, he would Skype in. And I remember Regeneration, who had their first con about 5 years ago, may they rest in peace. They had Tom Baker come in via Skype. But now with the Zoom, and obviously more used to using it, it's a bit of a game changer. So I think we're going to see more use of that. And my only question for 21 and going into 22 is if there will be paywalls implemented.
It's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's. I'm sure the photo ops are going to go away. I mean, like I said, the meet and greets. That's kind of what I meant. There's just, why take the chance? Unless it's Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones, and the Cobra thing, and they can put the plexiglass there. So you can have plexiglass between you going, hey, that might happen, but that's still not the same. So as like meeting that person for real, I don't know. I think that's going to be something that's going to be really different. And like I said, I agree with you that I don't think anything's going to happen for the first half of next year. And I'm really worried about the little conventions. I think we're going to see a lot of conventions that are just going to not be able to come back. So.
And I was going to say, Christy, with what I have noticed that you have been doing to kind of pivot in the in light of everything that's going on. Do you, even when things go back to normal, do you picture that you're going to be doing the same number of lives just because maybe you discovered that you've enjoyed it now that you're kind of in a position where you're doing more of them anyway, or?
No, definitely. We could have stopped now, but we built up this audience, and we have
definitely.
people. I don't know why, but we have people that come to our shows and they just watch because they think it's funny. Because I'm an idiot, I sing badly, and I tell dad jokes, and I mean it's bad. But we have people from Singapore, we have people in Mexico, we have people in Canada, we have people from all over. And like Tom King will pop on the show, or Gail Simone will pop on the show. Mike Perkins popped on the other day, and Walter Simonson came in one day, and it was just, it's just fun. And the people come in and they're like, "Hi, my comics family," and they're like interacting, people that I haven't met most of these people, but and they're all talking, "Hey, when this shutdown is over, we're going to come down to the shop." And I'm like, "Okay, you're going to see my little space that everybody thinks is so big is really tiny." It's not that exciting, but yeah, and I'll keep doing that because we have such a bigger audience right now that if I could almost do a show every night, but I physically can't and mentally can't because I still have to do the front of the store and do all the ordering. And people don't understand that getting ready for a show is not just the 2 hours of standing up there selling books and you have to be totally on and happy even though you've had a really bad day. It's going through all the books and pricing all the books. And then after that, you have to invoice all the books, and then you have to package all the books. That's what I did most all the day yesterday. You can probably see it. They're just like piles of things, and it's just my son and I here. So, and that's it. And I do all the packaging because I'm like, these are my babies going out in the world. I got to take care of them. So so we're going to keep doing that because we've worked really hard to build this audience, and it's kind of become its own thing. It's got its own page. We have T-shirts. We have Franco, my partner in some of the All Yes stores. He owns part of the New York store and the Skokie store. He did me a logo for it. It's me as a vampire, with a comic book. It's so cool. I don't have one here right now, but it's just kind of become its own thing. So it's kind of cool. I think we're going to start doing like some little interviews and stuff because I've had John McCrae called and said, "Hey, I want to come on your show and talk about stuff." And I'm like, it's not really a show. We sell things. And he's like, "Yeah, but I want to talk." And I'm like, "All right, so we'll do that." So I think it's going to evolve probably into something more because right before all this hit, I was talking, I'm writing for a podcast it's a horror podcast that is not off its feet yet because we were doing all this right when COVID hit. And we were also going to do a podcast about comic shops. And so I think this is it just kind of may become a part of that now because, everything, as you all both know, everything was put on hold. Everything was put on hold. I'm just glad my daughter had a baby March 3rd. And I was like, he came 2 weeks early. I was so happy because that was right before everything started getting shut down, and I probably couldn't have been there.
And also, congratulations about that, by the way. I meant to mention at the top of the show. But yeah.
His name's Maverick, so I got him a little, jacket and the aviators. He's cool.
Nice. And I realized I wanted to, give each of you guys an opportunity to, give your thoughts. I guess on my end, the thing that is, and it's basically, I didn't really feel a need because it seconds basically everything that you guys have been discussing is that communal aspect of cons in general. And some folks, I know at certain shows that I go to, and I go to, you know, quite a few over the course of a year. Sometimes I may see people at multiple shows, but sometimes like certain people I only see at this one specific show. So like it's really incumbent upon me to go to that show, you know, just to be able to catch up to that specific person or that particular group of people, just by virtue of the fact of it could be a multitude of things. Maybe that's their home con, so that's the only con they can go to. In the case of San Diego, that's the only con that they can afford to go to in the US. So it's like a way bigger circumstance. But you know, as you said, I'm glad that we were still able to get a show of some form. But yeah, there's still something to be said about that natural interaction, face to face, with. And I've done tons of. I mean, Chris, you were part of it. I've done tons of them because I felt a way to still vicariously have that experience, even though I wasn't able to have it this year's by having those special edition episodes called the SDCC Peeps. So. But with that being said, guys, last thoughts, last thoughts about this live edition and just going forward before I let you go. Whoever would like to go first.
I will go first, and I will say, end of the year is approaching. What better gift to give to the people that you like in your life than a comic book? Go support your local comic book stores. Please consider that they're making a lot of revenue being able to go to the cons. They're not able to this year. So please go. Graphic novels are a great gift to give to those people in your life. Go support your local comic book store.
Oh, hold on, Christy. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. So yeah, and also go if you have a favorite, people like Tom Zoller. I did the same thing. You prep for con season, so you order a lot of your books. So I ordered, since Charlie Wormwood came out near the end of last year. So I prepped. I had so many books of that. I had my Tales from the Crypt. I had all of these books that I'm like, oh wait, what am I going to do with all of these now? And that's where people get a lot of artists and writers. That's where they get a lot of their income. So, go to their sites and get some of their books. I was fortunate that I have an outlet here I can sell them. So I'm actually sold out of Charlie. I've got to get more. I didn't realize, and I'm like, wow, that was a lot. But I'm fortunate that way. But it's like I talked to Tom, and I was like, Tom, send me some of your books. We're going to sell them on the show. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Get commissions from people. So reach out and if they have a commission list, get a commission. If they're selling books, get their books, because this is a huge income loss for everybody that goes to a convention. And I mean, and as a retailer also, it's a loss. And as a moderator, and this year I was supposed to moderate a panel with Keanu Reeves, with Simon Pegg, and Nick Frost.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts.
Nick Frost is like my favorite thing in the world.
More than Keanu Reeves, Christy, because I know how much you love Keanu Reeves.
Well, I used to torment my son when he was little, and I'd see Nick Frost. I'm like, that's going to be your new daddy, just because. So I just think he's great. He's been in Doctor Who, and of course Shaun of the Dead. That was my costume. I had my I Got Wood shirt, so I was Ed from Shaun of the Dead. I really like him, but Keanu Reeves as John Wick is awesome.
Yes, he is.
And Edgar Wright would be up there too. Now, if Edgar Wright was on that panel, I might have just jumped off a cliff if we had any in Indiana, because Edgar Wright is like my favorite. And then anything What We Do in the Shadows, obviously, because I'm obsessed. But yeah, but that's also an income. So, last year I got to talk to David Tennant for an hour, which was like, that's one of the greatest hours of my life, and I got paid for it. So it's like losing income from there, losing income from the artist, or from selling my books at a show, and from selling them as a retailer. I'm just like, dang, I didn't realize how much I relied on conventions for money. Good thing that we can't go anywhere and spend anything. So yeah.
Definitely, indeed. And I realize that yes. No, you're fine.
I talk a lot.
You're absolutely fine. No, I was gonna say, I realized I didn't give an update on this. Emily was having some technical issues, so she won't be back to join us. I'm gonna try to see if I can get her on later. I'll keep you guys posted. I'll post where we would do to recap, what she wanted to say about her experience at the show. But with that being said, we do have believe it or not, I wanted to announce it here. We will have a second part actually of our recap because we had such a great response from folks that that I'm fortunate to call friends that wanted to give their 2 cents of the show and what they thought of it. So be on the lookout for that. That will actually be on Thursday. But without further ado, can you guys give your plugs, please, before I let you guys go?
You go.
Please, ladies first.
Okay. So we are Oh Yeah Comics in Muncie, Indiana, but we also have stores in Skokie, Illinois, and in New York. So in Harrison, New York. So they're all amazing stores. I'm Christy Blanch on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all that whatnot. Our show is What We Do in the Comic Shop, and that's where we're on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 7 o'clock on our page. And then I also do a show on the Comic Book Shopping Network on Facebook. If you have not heard of that, it's like a home shopping network kind of for comic books. And there's all these different comic shops that participate. We have Space Cadets and Jesse James, and I mean, just so many people, and it's awesome. So I do a show there on Thursday night at 9:45 at night, and then we show our new books. But please support your local shops. If they aren't physically open yet, I'm sure they're doing curbside or shipping. Call them and see if they can help you pick out some books, or say just send me some. Go to your artists, listen to people like Brandon, because he will tell you, all sorts of fun news.
Support your artists. Give them commissions. Support them.
Yeah, support them, because this is a hard time. And watch The Mandalorian, because it's fantastic. Baby Yoda is my heart.
All right, Kat.
Thank you very much, sir. So please come visit me on my Instagram. My handle is Verde Writer. And also check out my Flickr. I am digging deep down into my reservoir of comics, and each day I'm posting a new book signed by the artist. Oh, love the dog, love the dog. Come check out as well my writings about the cons that have happened in the past, happened presently on Movers and Shakers. And once again, I want to say, please support your local comic book stores now more than ever, because they need it, and the world is better with comic book stores in it.
All right, well, there you guys have it. Again, I want to thank my guest hosts here coming on board and talking about the show. I'm your host, Brandon Troy, host and co-creator of Movers and Shakers Unlimited. You can find us on Facebook, which you're watching now, live streamed. However, you can also find encores of a lot of these live streams on our YouTube. You can find us on Twitter at Move and Shake UNLTD, on Instagram at Movers Shakers Unlimited, and of course you can find me, Brandon Troy ENT, on Twitter, and Brandon Troy _ENT on Instagram. So there you guys have it. Thank you guys so much, and be safe out there. I'll see you soon.
May the force be with you.